Hello everyone, welcome to the Boring AFC. This is my first live stream. I wish I wish it was under better circumstances, but it is what it is. So we're going to pick apart the Carabao Cup final. I could have done it yesterday, but I couldn't face it. I wasn't in the mood. I remember when I came home after watching the game and I just sat in my living room, darkened room, like really like melodramatic. And I was just like, come on, man. It's our first final in 6 years. Like, you could have shown more. And we didn't. We didn't show much of anything, actually. And when I came to it and I thought about it enough, Pep did a number on Arteta. He really did. And he reacted too late to be able to get anything done after that. And that's the truth, really. One of the things that I think really dictated the narrative of the game after the initial 20 minutes. And after the initial 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes, Arsenal were good. They were playing well. They were playing fast. They were putting pressure on City. City didn't look like they were coping well. They were losing the ball quite easily. And then we had the free shot chance where Trafford pulled off a number of really good saves. The first one in particularly, the second two were more kind of like your standard goal mouth scramble stuff. But the first save from Havertz I thought was really good. I watched it a couple of times. I was like, why didn't Havertz score there? And it was just a good save. You know, like Havertz did everything right bar score. He tried to lift the ball over the goalkeeper who was coming on because there was no real opportunity to kind of blast it past him. And Trafford makes a good save, and then he makes two further good saves. And then after that, the momentum started to fall off. And I saw that particularly with the Hincapié booking. I do not think it was a booking. I don't think Hincapié should have been booked for it. However, he was booked. And then after that, his bottle went. And you could see that Semenyo really started to enjoy the game a lot more. And he was getting a lot more joy down the wing. And then what happened there was Man City was smart. They started doubling up on Hincapié because they know that he couldn't commit to making a foul. And because of that, Gabriel had to come out and help. What did that mean? That meant that there was more space in the middle, and they had a number of shots, actually. We were warned in the first half what the plan was, right? They made a number of balls from the left, from the right wing, and Havertz nearly missed one. I'm sorry, not Havertz. Haaland missed one, should have scored. And O'Reilly was there already lurking. He became like a second striker from left back. It was crazy. And so, you know, the warning signals were there, and both goals ended up coming from the left. So we kind of did this to ourselves. And other than that, I thought Arsenal coped quite well with City. And I thought, and you know, I said to my brother who I was watching the game with, I said, I feel like we've seen the best of what City are doing. We've coped with it, and we can do them in the second half. And one of the things that we spoke about was that Hincapié's got to come off because he's become ineffective. Bring on Calafiori. That didn't happen. Or if you're going to leave Hincapié on, you bring on Martinelli earlier so that he can help with the defensive duties. Neither of those things happened, and Arteta has to hold that. That's on him. And then from that, you had the second half, and you could really see what the tactical plan was in the second half, because instead of this low block that Arsenal always have to kind of navigate their way through, Man City just pushed right up on top of them and let them have the ball. And Man City didn't do a lot to try and win the ball. They just closed all the passing lines, and they stopped any of the normal Arsenal build-up play, which nullified the midfield and the defence, really. So what happened? They had to play the balls over the top, and they were just wishful thinking balls. No wonder Havertz and Gyökeres didn't get a look in, because there was no opportunities for them. And so that was incredibly frustrating, because it just meant that there was no build-up play, there was no momentum, and basically Man City just pulled us right down, and they kept working until we made the mistakes, and they scored their goals. Arteta should have made changes earlier, and he didn't. Then when you come to the actual goals, we can talk all we want about whether Arteta should have changed the goalkeeper or not. In my predicted 11, I put Raya. I would have been chosen Raya. I get the whole football philosophy of why he chose Kepa, but the clanger was a contribution to why we lost the game, and he did do it. It was a clanger. It was school ground goalkeeping, really, wasn't it? He should have caught the ball. He didn't, and that's on him. I would also argue that Man City had done their work to make him uncomfortable. He's not a goalkeeper who is traditionally with the ball at his feet or anything like that. That's a rare thing. So by sitting the way they sat right up in a sort of high press, but not necessarily doing anything. That meant that Kepa had so much more time on the ball than he's used to, so much more time to get anxious and whatever. It was like chess, and he had us in checkmate, Pep. And because of that, it contributed to what was eventually a goal. So super frustrating there, and you have to credit Man City. Like we have to hold that. We can't blame anyone but ourselves, right? And they score, and the 2 goals coming from the right back, you could see it was for the game plan because we saw it in the first half. And O'Reilly gets 2 goals. One's a gift. The second one is a good goal. The defenders maybe could have done better, but he's big, he's powerful, and he overpowered the smaller defender, I think. So, particularly on the first one, I can't remember who it was, but he was, he overpowered the defender and he got the goal. He wanted it more, and Man City wanted it more in that moment, and so we were punished for it. I want to talk about Shirky real quick. The shithousery was real. The kick-ups I thought were disrespectful. I'm not sure how I would have felt if it was an Arsenal player doing it, so I have to be honest. However, it's not the type of thing. I'm not sure I'd like it. I'm not sure if I'd like an Arsenal player disrespecting another team like that. But that I could actually live with. It was the other stuff when he was laying on the floor pretending to be injured, right? And then acknowledging that he was pretending to be injured. I think that's bullshit. But he's a Man City player, and he's doing that for the Man City fans, and the Man City fans are going to love it. So fair play, even though it is annoying. I think ultimately what we're looking at here is, I spoke about it in my build-up video, is that this was a master and an apprentice situation. And the apprentice, Arteta, was coming up against his master in Arteta. And what's up? That's our job. And he came up against his master, and he was humbled. And we have to accept that. He didn't react. Pep did something that Arteta wasn't expecting, this high press without any kind of intention to take the ball. It didn't happen, and their build-up play was what got them the win in the end. What's up? That's our job, TV. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you, man. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the only thing that I will say to finish the Carabao Cup is that I'm glad that the players stood there and watched Man City go up the stairs and stayed on the pitch and didn't just sort of like go and hide in the dressing room or whatever, because you need to use that as fuel. Arteta was on the pitch clapping. He got a lot of criticism for that, but I think that Arteta gets poor representation in the media anyway. I think he's more humble than he's given credit for. But they stayed on the pitch and they watched a team that they should have beat, and they should have beat them, go and collect the trophy that they should be winning. So in terms of what happens next, I think that this is good groundwork for us to go and get the Premier League done. And just talking about the Premier League quickly, one of the things that Tony Adams said when he was being interviewed was that you learn more from your losses than you do your victories. So, hopefully that Arsenal are going to see that Man City are still in this, even if we have got that 6-point joy. And I'm calling it 6 points because I expect them to beat Crystal Palace. But Man City are not going to give up this title race. So it's really important that we need to be taking every game more seriously than we took the Carabao Cup final. And, I've said it many times, the Carabao Cup final or the cup itself doesn't mean loads to me in the sense of winning it. It was more about the momentum. If I was choosing one not to win, it would be the Carabao Cup. But the momentum was really important for this game, and trying to get that next thing done so that we could build ourselves for the Premier League was really important, and we failed at that hurdle. And we've got 3 more hurdles, and we need to make sure that we're jumping all of them, or as best as we can. So Arsenal need to learn from that. We're still in the league, we're still in the Champions League, and we're still in the FA Cup. So we've still got bigger trophies to be going for, and we've had to learn a hard lesson. The only thing that I am quite pleased about, and Arsenal have been getting stick for this in the media as well, is that so many of our players have pulled out of international duty with injuries. We had Saliba pull out, Trossard pull out, Timber, Odegaard, obviously, Eze, Gabs has pulled out, Rice and Saka have got the first week off. I'm happy for it. These internationals mean absolutely nothing to me. They are a waste of time, and they are just the type of thing that Arsenal players are going to get injuries from, because they always do. People are saying that they should never play for their country again and all this other nonsense. I don't care. Man United used to do it in the late 90s, early 2000s. They always had this little niggle, so they couldn't go to international duty. Do you know why? Because the Premier League was more important than a random international friendly. So I have absolutely no problem with that. The only thing I will say is that Ben White's been called up to the England national team again, and the meltdown has been incredible. People have been really upset about it. And again, I don't care. I think he's the best right back available. If Trent isn't, Reece James isn't there. So he's the best right back available for England right now. And so he should play. People think that he walked away from the England squad, so he shouldn't play for England again. I think that's nonsense. There was obvious reasons why he walked away from the reason he had his reasons for walking away from the England national team. And Ben White takes himself seriously. He's a good professional. If he's walking away, there's a reason for it. Arsenal getting sick from the media, never. You know it. I was watching Talk Sport actually. I was watching a Talk Sport video that came up, and the Spurs fan Abby Summers was giving it to Deluded Gunner and calling him rattled and everything. And all he was doing was just making a case. And if anything, she was the more rattled off the two, and it was embarrassing to watch, really. But a lot of the things on Talksport are embarrassing to watch. But yeah, it's as George Graham said, it's part of our history. Dad's our job. So there we are. Yeah, the actual thing I wanted to come on to that as well was that Spurs seem to be more worried about Arsenal, and it's laughable. They lost 3-0 to Nottingham Forest on in the earlier kickoff. After this ridiculous build-up, they had this parade going. They had a message from the captain, and they held 3 to Nottingham Forest at home. And I would be incredibly worried if I was a Spurs fan, because the form just isn't there. Your goalkeeper's now having a hernia operation, so he's going to be out, and that could affect how many games he plays when he returns. Sadly, your manager's father has just died as well. So what does that mean for the setup? I know that he was on the brink of being sacked anyway, but now you're in a situation of, if you sack him, are you being harsh? Or if you sack him, are you doing him a favour? Like, I think that's a really difficult step for Spurs as well. And I do think Spurs are going to go down. So I think that they're in a really precarious situation right now. The other one is I saw the videos of them going around that they were singing Oasis songs after Arsenal lost to Man City in the Carabao Cup final, which is fine. But again, like, why are you so much more worried about us than you are worried about yourselves? And it just kind of speaks to the whole history of the situation that Tottenham fans, I think, are forever in our shadows. So I think worry about your own housekeeping first, rather than worrying about Arsenal. Make sure you like and make sure you subscribe, please, guys. That would be amazing. Thank you. Let me just put that up actually before I forget. Yeah, right, brilliant. Okay, so what's next, really? Arsenal have got Bournemouth after the international break, and Bournemouth are in really, really good form. They've played, I think they haven't lost in their last 10. And they just drew with Manchester United, who are also in really good form. So in terms of what that means, I just think this every game feels like this is the hardest game of the season. Everton were hard because they have, I think, the third best away record and the third best defence in the league. That was a really tough game. And now you've got Bournemouth, who are on the back of 10, not losing in 10. Really good performances, exciting strikers, strong defensively, and a manager who can get creative. So I think that this home game is going to be really challenging as well. And I do kind of worry because I'm worried about the hangover of the Carabao Cup. I do think Arsenal should be winning that game, and I think they will win that game. But there is that element of they're in that stage now where they've been before and they've bottled before. And I just want let's talk about bottling real quick. If Arsenal fail to win it this year, then I think this will be the first time we've actually bottled it. And the reason why I say that is because in the first year where we went toe to toe with Man City, no one really expected us to be there, right? So it was kind of like, wow, Arsenal are doing a good show here, but Man City were too strong. In the second year, Arsenal went toe to toe with Man City in those last 18, 19 games. I think we lost one, and we really pushed Man City to basically the final day of the season. The season after that with Liverpool blew everyone away. Arsenal had injuries and there was some questionable red cards in there as well. But this year, if we fail to get it done, I really do think that this would be a monumental bottle job. And I also think that would mean that, Arteta is not without question here. There would have to be some sort of is this the right step now? He's got one more year in his contract. Does he see out his contract? Does he get a new contract? And those are the conversations they're going to be having to have, because Arsenal should and must win the Premier League this year, in my opinion. So Spurs should be more worried about West Ham than Arsenal. Absolutely. West Ham, I think West Ham have got good fixtures as well, haven't they? So I think they've got Wolves next. Is that right? That's our job. And so they should be. I mean, they should be beating Wolves, and I think they will beat Wolves. They've got Bow in there, and hopefully Somerville will be back by then. I think they missed Somerville against Aston Villa. Aston Villa is a horrible away fixture, regardless of their current form, and Tottenham can't win at home. And the other thing that I think is quite interesting with that is that Tottenham have got the longest losing streak, I think, the longest non-win streak in the league, and actually they've got the worst streak of any team in Premier League history of not winning a game since January. And every other team that's had a streak like that have been relegated. So Tottenham are in an awful position. And actually, I think West Ham, I don't think West Ham will go down. And I don't think Nottingham Forest will go down. I think Leeds could be sucked into it again because they're not scoring goals. And Tottenham just aren't doing much of anything, are they? Let's have a look here. Thoughts on the New England shirt costing £134. Listen, mate, I don't spend £134 on anything. I wait until the t-shirts are in the Freeport outlet before I start paying money on them, or I wait for someone to buy me one for my birthday. But £134 is a shambles. That's a lot of money. Is that the one that the players wear, or is it the general fans one? But because if it's the one that the players wear, then not too bad. It's not too bad, but how many people are going to actually be buying that one? It's more, it'd be interesting to see how much the fans ones cost. But yeah, I have no idea what DH gate means. So you'll have to tell me, I'm afraid. But yeah, so I think that Arsenal will go on quite well. I don't think Man City are impenetrable, and I think that they will drop points. Oh, it is the players' version. Oh, okay, right. Well, why are we buying the players' versions anyway? Just buy the one that the fans wear and keep it simple, I think. But I think Arsenal will be okay. I'm a little bit worried about Bournemouth because I think that's probably, other than Man City, is two of the hardest remaining games. And then Crystal Palace might have something to say on the final game of the season because we've got to play them away, and Man City have still got to play them too. So I'm a little bit worried about what that could mean. The fan version is still £95. That's rough. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be buying that. I'm pretty sure you can find another way of purchasing an England t-shirt that looks like it, I'm sure. What about you, Dad Job? Do you think that West Ham are going to stay up? I think they will. I think they'll be okay. There's a Freeport sound. All right, brilliant. Noted. But okay, yeah, so I was aiming for 20 minutes today. I think I've got everything that I wanted to say off my chest. The main thing is that Arsenal failed to get the job done in this trophy. They choked it, and it's disappointing because Pep did a number on Arteta and Arteta didn't react. The master is still the master and the apprentice still has work to do. Thank you for watching. If you're watching it back, please like and subscribe. I'm chasing 100 subscribers now, so that's the next goal. And always, not for you, Daz, our job, but for Gunners.